right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with another full Steelers mock draft.
Yeah, man, so let's just get right into it. With the 20th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, inside linebacker out of Michigan. I know, Devin Bush at 20. It seems very unlikely, and I honestly, it's almost inevitable at this point that he won't be there at 20, but there is still a chance, of course, as you guys know, the two main inside linebackers in this year's draft class is Devin White and Devin Bush in that order. Um, you know, Teams that could pick up Devin White is obviously the Bucks, maybe, but they could still go defensive line. Maybe the Giants, of course. Maybe the Bengals.
Maybe the Packers, possibly. Like there's several linebacker needy teams that could very well select those two before the Steelers.
Right. However, it's possible Devin White could drop because of teams looking at other needs, like the Giants, obviously quarterback, wide receiver. The Bucks, maybe defensive line. Maybe the Bengals do go offensive line, or maybe they go quarterback or some shit. I'm hearing, those things or those ideas are being floated around involved when it comes to the Bengals.
Right. So Bush lasting to 20 is a high possibility.
Yes. Now, in my honest opinion, I really don't see it happening. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely, but I don't see it happening. But like we said, there is a very small chance that it could happen. And in this mock, we're going to go with that chance. Devin Bush there at 20. Obviously, inside linebacker is our biggest need. And if he is there at 20, it's a fucking no-brainer for the Steelers.
Right, of course.
You just can't pass up when someone like Devin Bush falls right into your laps. We need to replace Shazier, of course. And, Devin Bush has everything that we could want in an inside linebacker. Speed, covering ability, run support. Heart, love, passion, everything that we could ask for in an inside linebacker. Man, the perfect guy to replace Ryan Shazier is Devin Bush.
Absolutely.
I just feel like that, everything he would apply to this defense would just the morale would just grow.
It would really benefit not only the inside linebacker position, but the defense in general, really.
Absolutely.
The guy's got all the talent in the world to be great with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. So, Devin Bush at 20, man. If he is there at 20, it's a no-brainer.
Right. Now, with the 52nd overall pick in 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Imani Warrior, cornerback from Penn State.
Yeah, so we get corner in the second round, and like we said in our previous mock where we put Byron Murphy at 20, we really need to think about cornerback, just some depth at cornerback, and if anything were to happen at the cornerback position, whether it be a contract dispute or injury or anything, whether that involves Steven Nelson or Joe Hayden or whoever, we seriously need to think about the future or some solid depth at corner, because look at the opponents we have to face next year, and of course just our rivals in the AFC North overall. So we need depth at corner, and who knows, man? This could be our very last season, or this could be the last season Joe Hayden is in the black and gold. I mean, hopefully not, but this very well could be his last year with the Steelers. And if we don't address cornerback or add some depth at cornerback, then we're gonna be right where the fuck we were.
Yeah, seriously. We really need to stock the secondary a lot. Because like you mentioned with the AFC North, with their receivers, with how they're getting the receivers, the Browns, obviously, the Bengals, obviously, and possibly even the Ravens in the draft.
Yes.
Their receivers are starting to what am I?
Pretty much the receiving core is just stacked.
Yeah,
man,
I just started over my damn words.
Yeah, nonetheless, man, a Warrior would be a solid fit at cornerback, someone that could, come in and mix it up with Nelson and Hayden, and someone that we could develop to potentially be the starter opposite of whoever. So I think Warrior in the second round will be a very nice, solid pickup for the defense in the secondary, someone we can definitely develop, man.
Yeah, seriously.
So, yeah. Now, with the 66th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Darnell Savage, safety out of Maryland. This would be another pick that would stock up the secondary, but at the same time would be a selection that would pretty much help the secondary, of course, as we would pretty much be, pretty much solidifying our safety core and thinking about the future at free safety, because Sean Davis, he's definitely going to start this year. He's probably going to, definitely start opposite of Edmonds, but, I don't really see him being with the Steelers after the season. I feel like that this is his last season in the black and gold as well. And in my opinion, when we lose Davis, we're not going to have a determined free safety or starting free safety, and that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to fix next year. And so why not avoid that by going after Darnell Savage, who the Steelers are incredibly high on, someone that we can pick up in the 3rd round, someone that we could develop for a year. He's not going to sit on the bench. He'll be a great special teams guy to get his feet wet. He can mix it up. He can split reps with Davis or Edmonds, or he can be a great backup at dime backer behind Mark Barron and everything. So it's not like he would sit on the bench or anything. He would get his feet wet, but we could definitely develop him in his first year to eventually take that starting role at free safety opposite Edmonds.
Absolutely.
So yeah, stock up secondary a little bit more, man.
Now with the 83rd overall pick in 2019 NFL drafts, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Andy Isabella, wide receiver from Massachusetts.
Yeah, now, this guy is obviously a Blazer, man. This guy has some absolute crazy speed to him. We all know this, man. And he's actually pretty physical and strong for a guy of his size, man. It's actually pretty insane. Now, the only thing that really bugs me about Andy Isabella is his size. He's like 5'8", 5'9", or something like that.
Right, but the way I see it, we were able to take a small and skinny ass Antonio Brown and make him to what he is today.
Yes, if you look at the recent resume of the Steelers when it comes to developing receivers, most of them are undersized. Guys like Eli Rogers and of course Ryan Switzer right now.
Even Antonio Holmes, he wasn't the biggest guy, but he was dynamic.
Yeah, so the Steelers have great history of working with small guys, especially Ben Roethlisberger. He obviously is one that would prefer a tall target, of course, but he has shown that he can definitely work with the smaller guys.
Right, and another thing about Ben, he loves speedsters.
Yes.
He loves speedsters. If we do select Isabella with the 83rd pick, or third round pick, we would have Juju and Washington both outside, because I think we're going to try to use Washington more outside than in the slot. I think that's where he's best at, really. Excuse me. And, with the signing of Moncrief, I feel like Washington and Moncrief can split reps. That way we can both utilize those two receivers. And then you can have Isabella and Switzer split reps in the slot, since they're both fantastic in the slot, in my opinion. That's why I think Isabella would really thrive at in the NFL in the slot. And
right.
Then you have Eli Rogers as a very nice depth backup. That's a hell of a receiving core.
It really is, man. Our receiving core next year is looking very stacked and very promising. Now, Andy Isabella, because he's a Blazer, because he is a fast, very, special deep threat, he could definitely play outside. And with his speed, he can definitely burn anybody that is covering him just based on his speed. But I feel like that he would absolutely thrive in the slot, like you said. And, with his speed and everything, he'd be a very fun deep threat for Ben. Guy who has good hands as well, good route running ability.
Right. I mean, Isabella's never going to – I don't think he'll ever be a number one receiver in the league, but he will be an unstoppable slot guy in this league.
He'll be a very promising, very scary, very fast and mismatch in the slot, honestly. Just based on his speed, route running ability, and physicality, man.
And his catching ability, too. His catching ability is severely underrated.
Seriously. So
it really is.
Yeah, definitely, man. Now, with the 122nd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Foster Moreau, tight end out of LSU. So we get our number 2 tight end here behind Vance McDonald. As you guys know, Foster Moreau is more so of a blocking tight end. We all know how the Steelers love to use their tight ends, mostly as blockers, We're kind of converting Vance McDonald more as a blocker, Matt Spaeth was obviously a massive blocking tight end. Heath Miller was a phenomenal blocking tight end. Jesse James was a decent blocking tight end. So the Steelers love those blocking tight ends, and that's where we would select Moreau in the 4th round to be the second guy behind Vance McDonald and add depth to the tight end position.
Yeah, really.
That's pretty much all it is. So
just to be a very good number 2, and his catching ability is very underrated too. So I wouldn't sleep on him as a catcher.
Right, and he actually has speed at the tight end position. So if we want to work on his craft a little bit, if we want to develop him as a receiver a little more, then he could be pretty special. But
yeah, really.
He would mostly start as a blocker. So.
Right, of course. Now, with the 141st pick in 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Benny Snell, running back from Kentucky.
Yeah, so we get running back here. It's pretty inevitable that the Steelers are going to draft running back at some point in the draft. We don't really know when. It could be day 2. It could be day 3. We don't really know. But all we know is that the Steelers are definitely going to draft running back. And Benny Snell could be a hell of a fucking number 2, number 3 guy behind Connor and Samuels. So now he's not the fastest guy, of course. I'm hearing that Benny Snell is too slow for the league, which I don't understand. He pretty much ran the same 40 as James Conner. And look how explosive James Conner is in his first or in his second year.
How even Bell ran slow.
Yeah,
but look how he did.
Right. So Benny Snell, he's not the fastest guy, but he is a very strong, powerful, physical.
Right. If you really look at Snell, he's really the typical Steelers running back. Not a fast guy, but he's elusive. He's a power back. He can run through anybody.
Yes.
And he can get the job done.
Yeah, he is like you said, he is a type of run back that the Steelers just thrive on, that the Steelers love, and he would be a hell of a weapon in the backfield and would be a very nice, solid guy in the rushing game behind Connor, a guy to take pressure off of Connor, split reps with Connor and Samuels, of course. So this guy would pretty much solidify the rushing game and would be a hell of a power back in the goal line or in third and short or whatever, you know. So Benny Snell would be a very nice pick to solidify the rushing game. But Benny Snell is just a very aggressive runner, man. Someone who is being slept on a lot. So Benny Snell is a physical, strong, you know,
dynamic runner.
Really, you know, it's crazy how this guy runs, man. He's just so. I don't know how to explain it, really. You just gotta watch.
I think we just said just about really.
Yeah.
That's enough for Snell. The guy's underrated.
Yeah, you just watch his film. His film speaks for itself, man. Seriously. So yeah, man. Now, 175th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Gary Johnson, inside linebacker out of Texas. So this would apply depth on special teams and inside linebacker. We get a second inside linebacker. We double dip on inside linebacker, and why not? You know, I like Vince Williams. I like John Bostic. They're very good number twos. But you know, Vince Williams is getting up there with age a little bit, and his contract will be running out soon. John Bostic, I believe, is in the final year of his 2-year deal. I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. And the thing about Vince and John, they're not speedsters.
No.
Johnson is a speedster. I think he ran like a 4.4 something. And
he ran a 4.43, so he's pretty much as fast as Devin Bush or Devin White. You know, he has crazy speed inside linebacker. You know, he's not going to come in and be a number 1 or a number 2 or probably not even a number 3. But he could come in and be a very great special teams guy and could potentially build his way up on the depth chart.
Yeah, basically take that L.J. Ford role that L.J. Ford had last year.
Exactly. Or maybe he could battle with Tyler Matacaro for a roster spot or whatever.
Right.
This guy's just a great speedster that would probably thrive on special teams, but I would not sleep on him to build his way up.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, man.
Now, with the 192nd pick in 2019 NFL Draft, Pittsburgh Steelers select Ugo Ahmadi, defensive back from Oregon.
Yeah, so we get another defensive back here. This guy can play safety and corner. We'll probably put him at free safety. We stock up the secondary a little bit more. And this guy would pretty much be depth. He would thrive on special teams. He's a guy that could be a backup at dime backer as well, behind Mark Barron and Darnell Savage and Marcus Allen and guys like that. Now, because of the depth we have at safety, Ahmadi probably wouldn't really make an impact immediately, or he probably wouldn't make the roster immediately, but he's a guy we can add on special teams, develop, and eventually possibly take over the Jordan Dangerfield role, or maybe he battles with someone for a roster spot. Who knows?
Yeah, really. So we basically get 3 defensive backs with this mock, with Warrior, Savage, and Ahmadi.
And why not?
And that's what I really like. We need to stock up the secondary.
And you can never have too many defensive backs.
Exactly.
Seriously. So to stock up the secondary a little bit, but Ahmadi could really thrive on special teams and potentially build his way up if given the chance.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, man. Now, 207th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Kevin Gibbons, defensive tackle out of Penn State. This will pretty much apply depth on the defensive line. We don't really have promising depth. We have Tyson Alualu, but he's not going to be here forever. Daniel McCullers was resigned for some reason, and we still have L.T. Walton. Kevin Gibbons to come in and battle one of them for a roster spot, or just apply depth at the other defensive end position, because you can play both defensive tackle and defensive end. So this will pretty much apply depth on the defensive line, but I wouldn't sleep on Gibbons at all.
Yeah, seriously.
So.
Now with the final pick, 219th overall, Pittsburgh Steelers select Alex Bars, guard from Notre Dame.
Yeah, this will just apply depth on the offensive line. A guy that can sit behind LJ Ford or BJ Finney. I'm sorry.
LJ Ford.
Yeah, he's not even with the Steelers no more, sadly. But yeah, he could sit behind B.J. Finney and Ramon Fosh and David DeCastro and be a backup for one of them. And I really wouldn't sleep on Sean Starrett to develop him nicely to be a potential nice rotational backup, kind of like how B.J. Finney has been since joining the Steelers, a nice rotational backup. So that's what I can see Bars turning into, because he was actually pretty nice on that Notre Dame offensive line before ending the season with an injury, and that's where I think we can grab him in the 7th round and develop him to be a nice backup on the offensive line.
And potential starter, because he was one of the key offensive linemen for Notre Dame.
Right.
He was a very good and crucial part of that offensive line, in my opinion, until, unfortunately, he went down with injury. So getting him in the 7th round, in my opinion, would be a nice steal.
Yeah, but let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, man. So I think the schedule, because the NFL draft is literally pretty much a week away, which is fucking crazy. It's almost here, man.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I think that the plan here is that we're gonna have, I think, one or two more Steelers mock. I think we're gonna have one more mock draft that's gonna be uploaded next week. We might have an extra one later this week. We'll see. We'll find out. But we're definitely gonna have one more Steelers mock draft next week, right before the draft, and as well as another and final full first-round mock draft before the draft as well, man. So I guess you guys can look forward to that for next week, because next week is pretty much draft week. It's the final week to prepare for the drafts and everything. So otherwise, let us know your guys' thoughts, comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next one, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace!